Her voice trembled with venom masked as desperation. "If you won't forgive my brief mistake, I swear I'll take my own life, and you'll carry that guilt forever." I stared at her for a moment, my lips curling into a bitter, humorless smile. "I'm done with you," I said coldly. "Save your threats for the man you betrayed me with." Rage flashed across her face, but neither her fury nor her pleas could stop what had already begun. The dismantling of the world she built on lies. For years, I had poured every ounce of myself into our marriage. I crafted homemade dinners after her long shifts at the hospital, rubbed the tension from her back, slipped loving notes into her lunch, and brought her fresh roses every single Friday morning. A tradition I never failed for 6 years. Her name was Sarah, and she carried herself with grace and intelligence that captured attention wherever we went, though she always pretended not to notice. I didn't feel overshadowed by her light. I felt privileged to walk beside it. But now I realized I was blind to the signs that whispered around me all along. Everything unraveled on a quiet Sunday. She was in the shower, her phone carelessly abandoned on the dining table. A message lit up the screen. "Your touch still lingers. Tuesday, James. Meet me. I can't wait forever." My stomach dropped. My hand shook as I unlocked her phone and descended into a hidden world I was never meant to see. Dozens of messages, suggestive photos, receipts from hotel rooms, private payments, and tender exchanges littered the screen. She called him her bold savior, her prince. Every carefully constructed excuse about late shifts and conferences had been part of a deeper deception. She hadn't just been unfaithful. She had created an entire secret life where I was irrelevant. That evening, I cooked her favorite meal, creamy fettuccine alfredo, freshly baked ciabatta, and her favorite Pinot Noir. I played my part perfectly, smiling, laughing at her stories about difficult patients. After dinner, as we cleaned the kitchen together, I asked her to sit. She sat without suspicion. Calmly, I opened my tablet and revealed a folder labeled Sarah's Secret Life. She froze. Her eyes darted across the images and text, and then her face twisted with outrage. "How dare you invade my privacy like this?" she shouted, her voice sharp with indignation. There wasn't a flicker of guilt in her, only fury at being caught. Standing tall, my voice even, I said, "This marriage is over." She went pale for a moment but quickly recovered, leaning forward, voice low and menacing. "If you walk out that door, I'll kill myself. And everyone will blame you. You'll carry that weight forever." A wave of cold fear threatened to grip me, but instead of caving, something within me hardened. I met her glare with calm resolve. "Tell that to your lover. I won't be blackmailed." And with that, I turned and walked away, her stunned silence following me like an echo. Sleep evaded me that night, not from heartbreak, but from strategy. She had betrayed me for nearly a year, while living comfortably off my hard work. Now, she wanted to turn herself into the victim. I refused to let her control the narrative. If she wanted war, I would give her one, quiet, precise, and devastating. The next morning, I met with David Pierce, a divorce attorney known for his ruthless expertise. I handed him a USB loaded with undeniable evidence. Screenshots, bank statements, audio recordings of her manipulative outbursts, and her twisted suicide threat. After thoroughly reviewing everything, he looked up and nodded. She has no ground to stand on. She'll walk away with nothing. And just like that, my first step toward freedom was set in motion. I moved swiftly to secure my financial stability. Sarah never bothered to understand our true financial picture. She thought our joint account was everything. But that was just the surface. My real savings, investments, and family inheritance were protected in accounts solely under my name. A few quick calls later, her access to the joint credit card was frozen, and safeguards were placed on all accounts to prevent any sudden withdrawals. She wouldn't get a single dime beyond what the law required. Then I turned my attention to James, the man she risked everything for. It didn't take long to find him online, grinning beside his wife, Claire, and their 3 young children. Claire was respected, active in the community, likely unaware of the storm about to crash into her life. I didn't send angry accusations. Instead, I sent her the truth, a secured folder with every message, photo, and recording. My message was simple. You deserve to know, just as I wish I had. A few hours later, she replied, "Thank you. I suspected, but now I know for sure. I'll take care of the rest." I didn't follow up. I didn't need to. The fuse had been lit, and Sarah's second life was already beginning to collapse. Meanwhile, I had one more layer of evidence. The home security cameras I had installed nearly a year prior. Sarah never knew that every room, our living room, bedroom, and entryway, had been monitored and automatically backed up to a secure cloud. I watched footage of her bringing James into our home, their laughter, their mockery of my supposed cluelessness. It wasn't for revenge porn or public shaming. It was leverage held for the perfect moment. For days after Claire received the evidence, Sarah sent me a message laced with bitterness. "You've ruined everything. Are you happy now?" There was no apology, no reflection, only blame. I left her message unanswered. Claire had already exposed the affair on a local community forum. Screenshots, photos, hotel receipts, it all spread like wildfire. Sarah's once spotless reputation shattered. Friends distanced themselves. Invitations stopped arriving. Even her co-workers at the hospital began to treat her like a pariah. Still, I wasn't finished. I knew how vital her job was to her identity. I drafted a formal letter to her hospital administration, attaching a video clip of Sarah entertaining James in our marital home. My note was brief and professional. "This conduct violates your standards of ethics and integrity." 3 days later, she called from an unknown number, voice cracking between rage and desperation. "They've suspended me. They're reviewing my license. I'm seeing a therapist to fix what you've done. You're destroying my life." I closed my eyes and pictured that night in the dining room, when she threatened to end her life just to trap me. My response was calm. "Now you know what consequences feel like, Sarah." Then I ended the call. Her life unraveled faster than even I anticipated. Longtime friends cut her off. She was disinvited from events. At a lavish wedding anniversary celebration, the host discreetly asked her to leave, not wanting her scandal to taint the evening. Everything she once prided herself on, her image of grace, loyalty, professionalism, crumbled. Months passed. James was gone, his marriage destroyed. Sarah's career teetered on the edge of collapse. Still, she clung to a delusion that she might win sympathy or even regain control. But I was done. My final move was simple. I sent her a plain envelope. No return address. Inside were printed copies of her explicit texts, a copy of the hospital's pending dismissal letter, a USB with video footage from my surveillance system, and one handwritten letter. "You try to chain me to you with threats and guilt. That's when I saw you for who you truly are. Your betrayal was never just an affair. It was deception, manipulation, and cruelty. But you failed. I've broken free. You'll never rewrite the story. Goodbye, Sarah." 7 months later, I was living a different life. I moved into a small loft across town, its simplicity bringing me quiet peace. I adopted a dog, Luna, whose gentle presence filled my evenings with comfort. Therapy helped me heal, and traveling places I had always postponed opened my heart to new beginnings. Eventually, someone new came into my life, a kind, honest woman who didn't hide behind masks. One evening, as we gazed out over the city lights, she asked softly, "Do you ever think about her?" I smiled faintly, my voice calm. "I think about the person I believed she was. But I'm grateful she taught me what love isn't." In the end, it was a revenge that set me free. It was choosing a life where her shadow no longer followed me. The greatest victory wasn't in destroying her. It was in reclaiming myself.